Welcome all to accessiBe's Spotlight Sessions, where we shine a light on incredible individuals and organizations and the work that they do. I'm your host, Josh Basil. I'm a C4-5 quadriplegic, paralyzed below my shoulders, and a power wheelchair user. I'm the Community Relations Manager here at accessiBe and a passionate disability rights advocate and attorney focused on breaking down barriers to access and inclusion for people with disabilities. Today, on accessiBe Spotlight Sessions, we're joined by Mike Swinford, the CEO of Numotion. Welcome, Mike.
Thanks, Josh. It's great to be with you.
So, Mike, tell us a little bit about yourself and what's going on over at Numotion these days.
Yeah, so Mike Swinford, having watched the Spotlight series with Judy Heumann, it was a great education for me to introduce myself. I'm a 6'3" white male with brown hair. I've got hazel eyes, and I'm currently able-bodied, but I'm also very aware of the fact that all of us at some point may become disabled in many ways, shapes, or forms. So very pleased to be with you. Numotion is a provider of complex rehab technology, as well as medical supplies and other mobility and independence-related products. We work across the country with almost every health plan, from Medicare to Medicaid and commercial plans, really focusing on complex rehab specifically, which is much more customized, individually configured, medically necessary products that people with various disabilities require, with seating and mobility specifics, specific drive controls, people that range from quadriplegia to brain injuries, cerebral palsy, ALS, muscular dystrophy, etc. So it's a really important community that we're very proud to serve and to work with.
So how many employees do you have? How many customers do you serve?
So we have just over 3,100 employees across the country today. We serve over 300,000 customers in the U.S. today, and their families, and we work with clinics and rehab hospitals. We work with internal medicine docs and physicians, and then ultimately we work with the end users on the reimbursed side, and then as well as on the retail side. We've recently acquired Spin Life, which is a platform for us to really provide more products and services to people with disabilities or who have different mobility challenges that might not be reimbursed, but they're just things that they can pay cash for to help with home accessibility or various lift chairs or things to help around the house.
So as the captain of the ship over at Numotion, as the CEO, what does that day-to-day life look like for you?
Every day is different. Every week's different. So, I yesterday we had a board operating review, which is a monthly sort of review of all of our strategic initiatives. How are we performing to our mission and really helping our customers? We've got a board that's passionate about our mission and the focus that we have on the disabled community, which is really important to me and important to our leadership team, because we all share a passion for who we serve and what our mission is. Last week I had talent reviews the entire week, looking at hundreds of individuals across the organization and really assessing different career aspirations and how are we developing talent. The previous week I was in DC with various advocacy meetings focusing on a few technologies we've been really pushing to get funded by CMS for several years now, with power standing and seat elevation. Also, I had several meetings with different advocacy partners and legislators relative to service and repair reform. As you know, service and repair is something that is woefully under where it needs to be, just in terms of speed, responsiveness, quality, and infrastructure to serve the disabled community, especially for their mobility-related products. It's something I'm passionate about changing, both internally within Numotion. We're making a lot of investments, but also as it relates to the industry, we're a long ways away from where we need to be in terms of just the regulatory requirements to get paid, getting prior authorizations from payers before you can fix somebody's chair, getting a prescription before you can fix somebody's chair that's already been prescribed. it's just these are inappropriate steps that slow down the process and things that we're passionate about streamlining so that we can provide much better service to our customers. And so on any given day, yeah, I have I color code my calendar, different types of colors for dealing with customers versus with regulatory bodies versus operating reviews with our employees or different coaching and mentoring types of sessions. So I try to strive to find balance in terms of how I'm spending my time, but it's I think balance is something we all struggle with, whether in business or at home and in life.
That balance is key, and keeping those colors, balanced as well, so that you're hitting all the different spots. Which I love that you do it like that. That's awesome. So why is it important that New Motion and other businesses across the country provide services to people with disabilities and products and all that's involved with that?
Yeah, I mean, the disabled community, the more you understand the disabled community, the more you realize how many different people have so many different disabilities. There are visible disabilities, there are invisible disabilities, and the more your mind's open to that, the more you realize it's a significant portion of the population. And it's simply the right thing to do. People with disabilities deserve everything that able-bodied people deserve in terms of the right to live and pursue a career and live a life that's as fulfilling as anybody. So, for me, it's really an honor to be in a business that is so focused and so dedicated on serving a population that, when you think about people with severe mobility related disabilities such as ALS and cerebral palsy, muscular dystrophy, I've met some of the most amazing people like yourself and Judy Human and so many others that they're not asking for a lot. Just give me the ability to be independent and to be to be mobile. And so it's something. Being able to serve the disabled community is one of the most fulfilling things when we do our jobs right. When we fall short, it's one of the most frustrating things that drives us every day to be better. And we recognize that given the complexities of this industry and the challenges today with the supply chain issues and labor shortages and all those things, unfortunately, we fall short far too many times than I'd like. But we wake up every day and do our best to continue to make it right and take care of all of our customers to the best of our ability.
So with that, so like, what are you doing right now to better connect with your customers?
So with you and 14 of our customers from around the country, we've actually established the customer advisory board. Now it's been, I think, a little over a year since we established this customer advisory board. Initially, we met every single month. We broke the group into two groups. And really, we're hearing from our customers, as we do from customer surveys and many other mechanisms. But this is an advisory board that I'm very excited about because we're hearing directly on what are the things that the advisory board wants us to work on the most. What are the things that need to be improved upon? What communication? What technologies? Education? All kinds of different aspects of our business and our industry. And service and repair is one that really rose to the top, that everybody would like to see service and repair be more responsive and have much more infrastructure and resources readily available. And we've been making significant investments, especially in the last year, as this customer advisory board has pushed us and challenged us to provide more options to our customers when it comes to service and repair needs. Provide much more communication, much more education of the process and the things that we're waiting on, maybe from a physician or from a health plan or a payer. So the customer advisory board has been really incredibly insightful. It's been humbling. We've got an incredible group of customers who are passionate, vocal. They're not afraid to let us have it when there's something that's frustrating them, which I appreciate that candor. But it's really changed, I think, the trajectory of different investments we've made and different areas that we're focused on with the business. So the advisory board is one example. We have many other sort of listening mechanisms, from customer surveys to working with different advocacy organizations, with the ALS Association, Muscular Dystrophy Association, United Spinalpedia, United Cerebral Palsy. We are partners with many of those organizations, and we learn a lot, and we find different ways that we can continue to try to improve our business as it relates to serving those specific individuals.
Well, it's just being able to listen to the community, giving them a seat at the table. It's the improvement, the growth, everything that you're trying to do. It becomes a better recipe for the future. So I applaud you for taking on the consumer advisory board and making that possible, and with leadership really taking it so seriously and involving so many different parts of the Numotion family to listen in and be a part.
And we've got, I think it's important to note, we really assembled a very diverse group, right? We've got multiple different diagnoses. We've got different health plans represented. We've got different regions of the country. We've even got a few parents of kiddos who are in wheelchairs speaking on behalf of their children. So the diversity of the group is also really important to make sure that we are thinking through all of the different challenges and needs of our various customers, because the customers we serve, even though they share something in common relative to being, to having mobility related disability, aside from that, they are incredibly diverse in terms of their makeup, and making sure we're taking that into consideration is hugely important.
And so with Numotion, since joining there, I'd love to hear what are some of your, or what is your favorite accomplishment, or some of your favorite accomplishments?
Yeah, it's I am somebody who is constantly driven to try to drive continual process improvement. So it's kind of it's one that's it's a one that you wouldn't necessarily think about on the surface. Service and repair right now, we have a backlog of more customers than we've ever had waiting for service. We've had 10,000 new customers in the last, I think, 9 months come to us who didn't get their chair from us, but they're coming to us for service because either where they got their chair is not offering service, or they've got labor shortage issues. It's not a part of our mission to turn anybody away, so we're not going to say no to somebody. Unfortunately, what that means is we're taking on more demand than we've ever taken on, and that means people are going to have to wait longer than they should have to wait or want to wait. But I'm most proud of the progress we've made and the foundation that we've invested in service and repair. This has been a multi-year journey. We've invested in new technology to optimize routing of our technicians. We're about a month away from an entire new phone system that's an internet as a service to allow us to really have callback features, route calls better, and really avoid the voicemail sort of scenario of, whoever you were trying to reach wasn't available. You shouldn't go to a voicemail. You should bounce to somebody else who's available. So we have a live person talking to you, when you have a need. We've invested in remote service capabilities. We've got over 60 remote technicians who can solve thousands of issues literally over the phone, or they can diagnose a problem and order the parts in advance. So really shrinking the cycle time from how long it takes for somebody to get their mobility product serviced. So we've been investing in so many different capabilities. We've got texting capabilities so that when a technician is done with one appointment, we have an automated text message that goes to the next appointment to let them know that the technician is on their way. We're continuing to try to bring our company in this industry up to the level of quality and responsiveness that our customers deserve, that all of us would expect if it was our HVAC unit at our house, or our refrigerator, or our automobile. Given a third-party payer dynamic, there are different requirements and different challenges, but we've also been changing our agreements with payers and convincing various payers that they shouldn't require a prior authorization. They should allow us to just service somebody's chair immediately. They shouldn't require a prescription for something that's already been prescribed. And we've been making a lot of progress on that. So I'm very proud of the progress we've made, but I'm also very frustrated that it hasn't really truly resulted in that transformative experience on a consistent basis because of the labor dynamic and the supply chain issue. That has sort of exacerbated the situation along with this massive demand that we have. But I know the foundation we're building, and I know by looking at our metrics and looking at the infrastructure we've built, we are not far away from really truly driving a service experience that nobody's really felt or even imagined possible in this industry in the not so distant future. Obviously, the external environment with the war between Ukraine and Russia, everything that's going on with the pandemic still, just every year we say, things can't get worse, and then there are new and different challenges that we're facing. But I'm most proud of service and repair sort of investments and progress. But I also recognize that we're nowhere near where we need to be. But I know we will be in the next, I would say, 12 months. I think we're going to make some real transformative change.
Well, it seems like there's never a dull moment, and being able to keep doing what's needed to be done to keep moving forward and progress, being proactive. It's just that's what I'm hearing with the accomplishments and what you're trying to do. So applaud you on that, and keep doing that. Don't stop. And so with other business owners, like what is one message you would send to them? Why it's important to cater to the disability community and invite them within their walls?
That's a great question. I think, simply put, it's the right thing to do. I think the disabled community is all around us. It's a huge community. It's a huge part of any market. However you define your market, whatever the products and services that you provide, if you're not thinking of the disabled community in all of its different sort of characteristics, you're limiting your market size, number one, but also you inadvertently could be excluding individuals with your products and services, not even knowing that you're doing that. So I think by thinking about the disabled community and widening your aperture in terms of how you define your market, I think it's something that makes us better businesses. It makes us better people. It makes us better neighbors, parents, etc. By being more understanding and more aware of all of the different individuals that are out there. I heard secondhand from an incredible Paralympian's mom, Tatiana McFadden. Her mom once referred to all of us able-bodied people as tabs. She said, "You're all just temporarily able-bodied. One day you will have a disability too, and your mind will change and your perspective will change." But hearing Judy Heumann in your previous series talk about 30-year-olds, people in their 30s need to be thinking now about how they want to live their life, and do they want to live in a nursing home? Or my mom passed away last year, and she had no mobility. She was incontinent. She had dementia so bad that she had been robbed of most of her cognitive abilities as well. So understanding that all of us either have or will have some disability one day, I think is a great perspective and a lens to look through when you're thinking about your products and services that you offer to the different markets that you serve.
That's a really good point. It's just 1 out of 4 people in the U.S. are considered to have a disability, and it's not a matter of if, but when for a lot of people coming up. And
Right.
it's a huge market. That's like the persons with disabilities is one thing, but then you look at the disability community, which is the friends, the family, and
Right.
everybody else that it spreads out to. So it's a huge market, and if you invest in it, it's going to help you as a business, but also probably you in your future, being able to be included in that. So no, such a good point. And lastly, I'm curious if you could speak with anybody alive or no longer here and have a conversation with them, who would that be and why?
So, I'm somebody that's really curious and insightful about history and civilization. I went to Egypt with my wife early on in our marriage, and I've been asked this question over, in different forms over the years, and I'm fascinated with Egyptian history and civilization, and I think King Ramses II, who was both a king and a pharaoh, and lived for many, many years. I would love to have a conversation with King Ramses II about civilization, about science, about medicine. There are things that existed, and the knowledge around heart disease and things of that nature fascinate me from ancient Egypt. And there seems to be a gap in civilization um, that I would love to just have a conversation with somebody like that, that obviously lived in a time thousands of years ago, that to really just understand kind of how things have sort of progressed or not in some scenarios. So that would be who I would love to have a conversation with, who's not alive. Um, People who are alive, a different answer, probably related to some of the world leaders these days, and some of the conflicts that we're seeing. How can we not resolve these conflicts without war, without killing people? That would be my most desired sort of outcome. I trust that many of the world powers are trying to drive exactly towards those resolutions.
Yes, no, it's that was a fun answer because it's definitely not something I was expecting you to say. So that's there's always important conversation to have, but learning from the past and history, there's a lot to be learned there. So thank you for that, and thank you for being our guest today on accessiBe's Spotlight Sessions. This was a fun conversation and learned a lot from you and continue to learn from you. And
Yeah,
uh,
likewise.
to our audience, till next time. But Mike, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Josh. It's always a pleasure.
Take care, everyone.